Hello viewers, welcome to Sansad TV podcast. I'm Tina Jha. In this episode, we are going to talk about the MPLADS scheme. The Members of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme, as you would be aware, is a central government scheme which enables each Member of Parliament to recommend developmental works to the tune of 5 crore rupees per year to be taken up in his or her constituency. Now, this scheme was announced on the 23rd of December 1993 with its administration then with the Ministry of Rural Development. But since 1994, the administration of the scheme has been vested with the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, which is responsible for prescribing guidelines on how the scheme would be implemented and monitored by various authorities. The ministry revised the guidelines in 2023, making it simpler to understand and easier to implement. Besides, it also amended the fund flow mechanism and launched the e-Sakshi portal for implementing, monitoring and analyzing the impact of the scheme effectively. So to talk about the importance of this portal, the implementation of the new guidelines and other necessary steps to ensure that the benefits of the scheme directly flow to the people, I'm delighted to welcome on this edition of podcast Dr. Saurabh Garg, Secretary, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Thank you very much for your time. Welcome to Sansad TV. To begin with and to make it simpler for the viewers to understand, tell us about what is the primary objective of the MPLADS scheme.
First of all, thank you for having me here. The main objective of the MPLADS, which the Members of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme, is to ensure that development works are carried out in the constituencies of the respective MPs for the creation of durable community assets, which are based on the locally felt needs of the people. So that's very crucial. Number one, they have to be durable community assets. Individual assets are not allowed. And second is that they are based on the locally felt needs of the people. And to that extent, they seek to fulfill the requirements of the people, which perhaps is not being fulfilled by other central or state government programs.
So how is it different from the other centrally sponsored schemes?
So I would say, in fact, MPLADS is one of perhaps a very unique scheme in one sense that most other schemes have a restriction of the area or the sector that they operate in. For example, a health ministry scheme would be talking of health, it could be education, it could be irrigation. MPLADS has no such restrictions. They can operate in any sector, which as long as it is a locally felt need. So that's one big difference. The second is that this scheme involves a direct involvement of the Members of Parliament. The Members of Parliament are free to recommend works of up to 5 crore per annum in their constituency, and it is directly decided by them and of course implemented by the local district administration.
So how does it benefit the people? And because people elect members to the Lok Sabha directly, to the Rajya Sabha, it's an indirect procedure, but the Rajya Sabha members are also elected from a particular state. So if I may ask you about how it impacts or affects or benefits the voters per se.
Yeah. So as I mentioned that each Member of Parliament has funds of up to 5 crores per annum to be spent on any durable community asset in the area. So the people benefit directly from the availability of these assets, and they are to be done based on their felt needs. So therefore, if there is a certain area which requires either a road, or it requires an Anganwadi building or a school building, or it requires an open gym or any such activity, and the local people send a message or petition the local MP that they would like to do it. So it's a kind of a direct benefit that flows to the people by the availability of this community asset.
Okay, so let's now understand the utilization of the MPLADS. What is the procedure for the allocation? So you said 5 crore is allocated to each MP, but tell us about the procedure and how this is allocated.
Okay. So each Lok Sabha has a very, MP has a very clear area defined, their constituencies.
Right.
And in their constituencies, they select a nodal district which acts as a kind of monitoring mechanism, or the nodal district from where the projects, they can recommend to the projects. And the nodal district also helps in terms of monitoring, audit and those kind of activities. There can be more than one district in member of parliament's constituency. So any one of those districts is the nodal district, others are implementing districts. The projects can be in any of the districts. It's not limited to being only in the nodal district. For a Rajya Sabha MP, there is no particular constituency of a district. Their entire state is their constituency. So they can recommend projects in the entire state. And there are no such restrictions of any particular district, but they also notionally identify a district from where it's easier for them to interact, etc.
So there's no restriction as far as the district is concerned, but are there restrictions on the kind of projects that they can recommend? Or if you could tell us more about what are the kind of projects that are recommended?
As I mentioned, the projects have to be a durable community asset. These sectors are very wide, because the sectors can be in education, in public health, agriculture, railways, roads, bridges, recreational facilities, sports, games. So the area or the sectors are extremely wide, and in case there's a particular sector which doesn't exist, even that can be added as long as it's a durable community asset. There's only one area where individual assets are also allowed, and that is to people who are physically challenged, who have some disability. So they can be given individual assets. It might be a tricycle, it might be any other such equipment which will improve their productivity, that can be given. Apart from this, one other area where they can give outside the district is in case of a natural calamity, and depending on the severity of the calamity, they can either give, for example, 25 lakhs outside their area, or in case if it's a very, very severe calamity, a national calamity, then it can even be given up to 1 crore. And then there are no area restrictions which apply.
Okay. You know, the administration of MPLADS has been under MoSPI over the last 30 years, although when it began for a year or so, it was under the Ministry of Rural Development. So in 30 years or so, tell us about some of the successfully implemented projects under MPLADS.
Yeah. So, I mean, there have been a host of projects in every district, I can say, across the country, both in the rural areas and the urban areas. Just to give an example, open gyms are something which have been set up in many places. Right. High mast lighting, which is required in urban areas, that has been set up in many places. Some places have constructed medical colleges, and of course school buildings, Anganwadi buildings, they are a large number. Even, for example, seasonal rivers which would cut out some villages, there have been bridges constructed on top of that. So I think the area of operations has covered the entire gamut of any sector that you can think of, which is required at the village level or the panchayat level, and it has been used very, very successfully.
You know, sir, while I was reading, I got to know that some of the changes have been made, although the guidelines are tweaked from time to time at regular intervals. The last revision happened last year in 2023, but the fund flow procedure was also amended. Yeah. If you could help us understand what is the kind of change that has been made, and keeping in mind the use of technology as well, the eSakshi portal. So tell us about how effective that also has been.
So I think one of the biggest changes that has happened over the last year or so is the fact that we moved away totally from a pen and paper procedure, which was the earlier norm, that it would go by writing to districts, districts would send it to implementing agencies, and there would be reports of the paper getting lost somewhere. So now we have both a portal and a mobile app, and any project can be recommended by the Honorable Member of Parliament on the mobile app or the portal, and it goes from the portal down directly. The implementing district or the nodal district can download the recommendation. They can identify which is the implementing agency, send it to them on the portal itself, and the implementing agency can upload the draft plans of the building, and the sanction order is also generated on the portal. So eliminates any kind of chances of miscommunication or the messages not going.
Right.
But more importantly, also ensures one, that there is no time lost in the messaging, and number two, at any stage through the dashboard, the member of parliament or their office or the implementing districts or the implementing agencies can see what are the projects that are being implemented, what stage they have reached, what is the financial progress. There's also provision to upload, for example, photographs and on the different milestones, so that you can have a visual feel of what stage the project has reached.
Right. So in terms of the fact that every concerned department should be well trained, what are the necessary steps that the ministry has undertaken since the revision has happened, and in terms of also facilitating effective implementation to the change that we have made?
Yeah. So this has been done at various levels. One is obviously we have ensured that these guidelines changes have been sent across to all of them so that they can know what is there. We've done training programs both in person and virtually with the districts and the state governments to inform them about these changes that have happened, including for the funds flow, as you mentioned, which funds through the PFMS system, they flow directly to whoever is vendor is implementing. So these training programs have been done in Delhi, they have been done elsewhere, and as well as virtually. And more importantly, even for the members of parliament, during the recent session, we had a kiosk outside the parliament in the Parliament House as annexee, so that the MPs can discuss and understand what are the systems, what are the guidelines, and their offices have also been briefed. So I think these have really helped improve the awareness about the program.
So while there are consistent efforts on part of your ministry to ensure that the procedure is as seamless and transparent as possible, do you also face challenges as far as implementing this scheme is concerned and making the stakeholders understand?
Yes, of course. Challenges are always there in any scheme implementation. One is very often they are not fully aware about the guidelines which exist. Very often now we have introduced a new provision in the mobile app and the portal, which through which even people can directly upload their requests, and the MPs can see what has been requested. So I think one of the challenges always remains is to increase the awareness about the scheme, increase awareness about the guidelines, and to ensure that the work is done on time on the ground.
Over the past few years, we've also seen how the government has gone and merged several of these schemes or pooled them together for better results. Is it possible that MPLADS also be effectively pooled with other centrally sponsored schemes for better results?
Yes. See, there's a restriction in MPLADS that the total amount of funds available is 5 crores for a constituency. And there could be some projects which alone require a larger amount of funds.
Right.
So therefore, the provision exists that dovetailing of different funds from different schemes, whether of the state or of the center, both can be done, and due to which the total volume of work that is done by leveraging the MPLADS funds increases to so much extent.
So have there been any examples, any projects where this procedure has happened, wherein the MPLADS has been pooled with any other government scheme in the past?
Oh yes, I mean there are projects, whether you look at under the Khelo India program in provision of equipment, etc. For the Amrit Sarovar program, which entailed deepening of water bodies across the country, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So a number of programs, and Manrega, of course, where that's one program where there are certain restrictions on the amount of material that can be done, so they have been dovetailed with Manrega. So, these have been done across the country in different districts.
You know, despite the restrictions, it's been a success. On the face of it, to us, it appears as a hugely successful one. But the challenges are something that those who are implementing would understand, the backstage players. When you pool such schemes, on one side are the benefits, on the other side are the challenges. So, tell us about both, in fact.
So, I suppose the challenges remain in terms of ensuring that the guidelines of the different scheme can be subsumed in each other. Fortunately, the MPLADS has a lot of flexibility in its guidelines, that as long as it's a durable community asset, it should be possible to do it. There are challenges of funds flow, that funds which flow from different schemes need to be made available to the implementing agency at the right time. So, that of course would require a greater amount of coordination at the district level, especially of the district collector or the district authorities. That needs to be done. And I think more importantly, the ability to visualize and envision that a particular project which is facing problems of funding, of implementation, how to pool together different schemes. And that a lot depends on the ability to think out of the box and look at funds which can be used.
Certainly. So, while that is something that you do, there are also times we come across news that the MPLADS fund has remained underutilized or unutilized. What are the factors that could lead to underutilization or unutilized funds? This is something which is given to the MPs to, you know, take care of their constituency and their voters. So, what are the factors that lead to this kind of situation?
I think a lot of these factors used to be there in the past, and a majority of them were related to procedural delays and process delays because of the pen and paper mechanism that was there. With the introduction of the mobile app and the portal, it has become seamless in terms of being able to recommend a project, view what is the process made, and ensure that it gets implemented. And one other area which really helps is that MPLADS is a non-lapsable fund. So, in case a certain district or a certain constituency, there are some funds left, they get rolled over to the next year or to the next person who gets elected. So, the district as a whole or the constituency never suffers, but the people benefit, though there might be certain time lags. But I'm hopeful that with eShakshi mobile app, even these will not be there.
So, do you want water?
Yeah, I won't mind water.
कोई है इधर? एक बार सर के लिए पानी ले आइए प्लीज. टेबल पे रखा हुआ. हाँ. एक बार ड्यूरेशन बता दो, then I'll. ठीक है. Okay.
More or less done?
No, sir. We've recorded about 17 minutes.
Okay, we still have a long time to go.
ये वाला हटा दीजिए. Another 10 minutes or so. 8 to 10 minutes will wind up.
Can I leave it out here or should I put it down?
You can leave it here. You can leave it here. नहीं रहने दीजिए, मुझे लैपटॉप ऐसे भी नहीं चाहिए था. मुझे लगा था कि लैपटॉप नहीं चाहिए, इसलिए मैं प्रिंट आउट ले आई थी. मुझे पता होता तो मैं लॉगिन करके निकाल लेती है. शुड हैव सेव्ड पेपर. कोई बात नहीं. एक सेकंड. ठीक है. कंटिन्यू. So, do you believe there could be other strategies that could be adopted for better utilization of the MPLAD funds?
I think one area where we have done some work and we can improve further is awareness among the people that these funds are available. We've recently, as I mentioned earlier, we've introduced a provision in the portal and the mobile app of people being able to upload their suggestions on what work needs to be done. Right. So, that has started. So, that will give a bigger pool of projects which the Honorable Member of Parliament can examine and suggest that needs to be done. The second area, in a way, we have taken care of by the fact that the sanction and the uploading of estimates and plans can be done online. So that reduces the time of implementation. So with the greater awareness among people and the faster implementation, I think both these two would help to ensure that the funds get utilized so much faster.
Are there also steps that can be taken to ensure further transparency, more accountability in the way these funds are utilized?
Yes. One of the things that we have introduced in the portal is the ability to upload, for example, photographs of the progress of works. And there's also the provision for the general public of a constituency to be able to view what kind of projects are being done. Apart from that, we always have a standing instruction that any asset that is created out of these funds should have a plaque mentioning that these are from MPLADS, the year of the construction, the amount that was spent. So all those are of course there. Apart from this, we have the provision for a third party audit and a third party verification. So we engage independent parties to look at the works that have been implemented, look at the quality of the execution, and the benefits that are actually flowing from those to the people. So all these help to strengthen and improve the credibility of the scheme among the people.
Since we are talking about better utilization of the MPLAD funds, I would also like to understand from you the role of the local governments, the state government as well, and largely the community's role in effective implementation of the MPLAD scheme.
Yeah. So the state governments and local administration are fully involved in the implementation. As I mentioned, the recommendation is done by the Honorable MP, and it's the state agencies which do the implementation, whether it's the local PWD or the local panchayats or the Zilla Parishads, they do. The nodal districts are, then the district administration is fully involved in the implementation and also in the oversight and monitoring of the works. And plus not only the nodal district but implementing district, so that includes all the district administrations. After the work is constructed or built or the asset, the user agency is the local panchayat or the local Zira Parishad. So it's in a way gets transferred or is owned by the local administration. So the benefits in terms of operating and maintenance then remain with the local administration, the state and the district and the panchayats. Regarding the people, the scheme is entirely based on the fact that it has to be represent the felt needs of the people, and whatever they feel that is a requirement, and that requirement is not being met through other mechanisms or other schemes, they can resort to this.
Since the objective is to benefit the people and the voters, how or what exactly are we doing to increase awareness among the people, at the same time increase their participation, so that they come out and tell the concerned authorities that this is what we want, this is what our need is, rather than the department assessing the needs, the people being vocal, more vocal about their needs?
So number one is since the decision making is entirely with the members of parliament, and most MPs, whenever they go to their constituency, they keep receiving different kind of requests from people directly. So that automatically gives them a large pool of projects from which to select. Apart from this, in the social media, we use extensive, make use of extensive of the social media, so that we inform the people that these schemes are available. And now more importantly, we have added this feature in the portal that people can upload their suggestions and their requirements directly onto the portal. So the members of parliament would have another mechanism to get to know of projects or requirements from the people.
Right. And how can we further use technology to leverage effective implementation of MPLADS? You've worked hard at your end, but to ensure that it's a two-way process. The ones who are doing it and the ones who are receiving it should be on one platform.
Absolutely. Fortunately, the extensive use of mobile phones, smartphones, the extensive availability of broadband internet connections, even at village level through the BharatNet network, I think these are all helping to ensure that people can participate directly in the governance processes, and give feedback on a 24/7 basis. As I mentioned, there are facilities available for people to talk about and give their requirements. And we also have milestone monitoring, which is done based on the photographs which are uploaded. So I think technology is something which brings about greater transparency, greater accountability, and I think more importantly, it improves the pace and timeliness of implementation. So that
Absolutely.
will remain a focus.
There have been a lot of success stories that you've also spoken about. To ensure continued success of the MPLADS, what would be the key takeaways for the policymakers?
So I would say one is how to ensure that the projects that are being implemented are those projects which perhaps don't have other programs or schemes which can fund. Because where the maximum benefit will come from is from, if I can put it, gap filling of schemes and programs and of the requirements of the people. Apart from that, it's to ensure quality implementation, which the people themselves, being better aware, would definitely be a big plus. And ensuring that each project gets the supervision and monitoring that it needs. That is something which the local administrations, district and panchayat can really support in.
Certainly. So it's a team effort. Lastly, sir, I would like to know from you, and if you have any specific message for our viewers, for our listeners, about the importance of MPLADS in our country.
Yeah, I think what I would suggest to citizens living in different districts, that if they feel that there is some area which remains unfulfilled because there is no state government program or a central government program which directly addresses that need, I think this is an important program which fulfills those requirements, and which are of a nature of which can be a very micro requirement in a particular village. But I think that's what this is focused on the micro requirements of people, but helping a group of people at the same time.
Certainly, and especially when we're talking about a Viksit Bharat, and the larger aim is that no one should be left behind. It's important that we all walk together in this journey. It's been an absolute pleasure, Dr. Garg, to speak to you on the importance of MPLADS, about the objectives of this particular